super fundamental, but go back to the fundamentals of crypto very quick. What does a bank do? All right. So the bank is the third party. Before we had the barter system until we have banks, right? Now, banks is the third party. If I send you $10, the $10 doesn't actually leave my banks to go straight to your bank account. What happens is it goes into a pool that the bank owns, and then the bank uses his own dollar to send you. So he needs to validate that the $10 that you are sending to the bank is actually real, right? And the bank, as a third party, is playing a very important part when it comes to economy as a whole. They're playing the part of a trust. The bank here is the third party that creates the very foundation that we need for a transaction to work. We need a level of trust. You can trust the bank that if that $10 that I'm sending is real, the bank will give me that $10 to that guy. So that's what we normal system is. We can do that by wire transfer. There is in the States, they use ACH to wire the money. It can take a wire transfer can take 3 days for that money to go here. And then by that time, they need to validate that action before that action is sent to whoever is receiving that money. But or e-transfer is going faster, but e-transfer is a level of risk, because although that money is being transferred very fast, it hasn't actually arrived to the bank yet. So they're taking a level of risk when they do that, more potential for fraud. But hey, the bank is securing your transaction, so you can rely on the bank and not necessarily rely on the person who's doing that transaction, right? With the invention of blockchain technology, and Bitcoin was the first blockchain, we don't need a third party like the bank anymore. Now we have a decentralized ledger that secures that if I send $10 to the ledger, that it validates that $10 is real, that $10 is, I can touch it, and then it will transfer that $10 to this guy right here, and he'll be happy. So, and Ethereum, it's the same blockchain technology, but it applied a level of contract. Basically, if, for example, imagine Rogers or AT&T, all right? And let's say I go on Ethereum and I set a contract as the company of AT&T or Rogers, and I say, hey, if this guy uses 1 gigabyte of internet, charge him $10 for the month, okay? But it won't necessarily charge you only at the end of the month. It might charge you every time you go on the internet up until it reached that $10 threshold, and up until you reach that 1 gigabyte threshold, right? So that's what's possible with the blockchain now. You may be charged per minute, per usage, as opposed to being charged per month. So if you didn't use 1 gigabyte of internet for the month, then maybe you're going to be charged only $5, right? Because it's a contract. That contract is programmed on the platform of Ethereum, and Ethereum said, hey, if this action happens, then this action will happen. It's that simple, guys. It's always a if else. If this happens, this happens. Else, if this happens, this should happen. That's what blockchain allows you to do, to create a contract on top of blockchains and many other cryptocurrencies like Cardano, Solana, Polkadot. Many of them are basically allowing you to program something, and you can, whenever it's programmed, we're programming something, you can create a lot of things, games, you can create a whole company. Imagine you have real estate, you put it on the blockchain, on a ledger, and every corner of the building is for sale. And you tokenize the entire building, as opposed to just giving you an apartment in the building. So yeah, so now you can sell part of the cryptos in Africa, and someone in Africa can own part of your building in Montreal. So again, a lot is possible with this technology, and that's basically what cryptocurrencies does. Now, when we do a transaction on an exchange, okay, we're not doing it straight on a ledger anymore. Now we add the factor of a third party, okay? And that goes back to the question you were asking earlier about security. Now we can have an exchange that is centralized, which is a company that owns the exchange, that takes fees for every transaction you make, so that it can guarantee that transaction. You would have to trust that centralized company like Coinbase, Binance. These are safe, centralized platform. Why? They have been there a long time. They have built a lot of liquidity. So, and what they're doing, actually, it's the same thing as the bank. They're doing the same thing as the bank. They are the bank of the future. I'll repeat that again. The centralized exchange are the bank of the future, right? What are they doing? Shout out to you, Natasha. You want to sell your BTC for Canadian dollar, right? You go to an exchange like this, a centralized exchange. The exchange will receive your BTC, and then they will use their own pool to give you that dollar. And they're relying on the blockchain to make sure that this transaction is secure. But the money, it's basically coming from their pool. Basically, also XRP, they're helping banks dealing with that because banks have escrow accounts. Basically, they have escrow accounts, and it basically means accounts that is funded all around the world that they're just not using at all. And the purpose of this account are simply to fund transactions. Imagine you have like $1 billion locked into a bank, and then no one is using this because they want to make sure that when you make a transaction, they have enough money to fund it. Because hey, if I'm supposed to be using e-transfer, right, to send, or Cash App, whatever, to send up money very quick. As soon as it appears on your phone, it's not coming straight from my account to your account. It's actually going straight from my account to the bank or the third party. And then the third party use that escrow account, that liquidity pool on their vault to fund me. That's what a centralized cryptocurrency platform does. Okay. Now, decentralized does the same thing. However, no one is there to oversee what's going on. And decentralized add a level of complexity, but everything is programmed. And the way they do that is they program a pool that is called a liquidity pool, and people can go and fund that pool. Like me, you, anyone in the chat, you can go and you fund the pool. And now the centralized bank fund their own pool, and they take a percentage of that transaction as a profit. Now, with a decentralized platform, instead of someone like a one funder filling the pool, you can help fill the pool with your own cash, and part of that transaction that happens, the interest goes to you because you are basically helping the transaction happen, right? So that is a very important concept when it comes to exchanges. If you enjoyed this little short segment that we did, here's where you can click to find another short segment, or you can click right here to find the entire podcast. Take care, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.
Hey, yeah. It's all about wealth engineering. Might be something that you're not used to. It's okay, cause I'm here to introduce you to concepts. Time to grow and make big moves. All about crypto, come see. Stocks and business, yes indeed. Got the info that you need. Hosted by my homie JC. Hey, yeah. Wealth engineering. Stacking and stacking it up. It's time to generate wealth till you living like Scrooge McDuck.